Welcome to Focus on Southeast, a monthly program on issues and events impacting the campus of Southeast Missouri State University. I'm Dan Woods, General Manager of KRCU Public Radio, Southeast Missouri's NPR station. Today we're talking with Southeast President Carlos Vargas, and we'll spend some time today talking about the latest on the budget, a tuition increase, and much more. Dr. Vargas, welcome once again.
Welcome, Dan. Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Very good to see you.
Good to see you as well. The Board of Regents, as you know, of course, met on the 12th of May and approved a 2.8% tuition increase that will take effect in fall of 2017.
Yes.
What kind of impact will that increase have on the university's budget, which I know has been challenging as of late?
Well, yes, it is going to be challenging. Well, that increase is going to help us absorb some of the cuts that are being implemented on higher education, and some of them, of course, are affecting us. Mm-hmm. We have been working on that from the moment that the cuts were announced by Governor Greitens, and so we kept working and develop a plan, really a multi-year plan to address this, because we thought that doing a one-year plan really was not the best way to proceed at this point. And so we did a 3-year plan, and we have identified a number of ways of absorbing those cuts, those reductions, but it was going to be extremely difficult for us to really be able to take the whole, to absorb all the cuts without increasing our tuition. Mm-hmm. And as you know, and I hope everybody knows, your listeners know, is that we value access and affordability tremendously at the university. We want to make it as easy as possible for students to be able to enroll in college and to finish their degree. So we ended up in the end having to propose this 2.8% increase to the tuition, which was approved on May 12th by the Board of Regents. The 2.8% really corresponds to $6.50 per credit hour. Okay. For the university, and so that's what we're going to be doing. And as you mentioned, the Board of Regents approved it. We did have very detailed and thorough conversations with the regents, justifying the reason why we wanted to do this, because the regents themselves are very committed to affordability in education. So that's what happened this May 12th, and I think we're going to be able to deal with this budget cuts as we move forward. Mm-hmm.
What are we looking ahead to FY18? Do we have any sense of what the state appropriation will look like? Has there been any early looks at that at this point?
Well, they actually ended up proposing a 6.58% reduction instead of the 9 that the governor had originally proposed. So it looks better than what we were thinking. To be honest, in years past, we have experienced a situation where we have been given maybe a small increase with the idea that with the understanding that we wouldn't increase tuition, so we're always trying to balance those two things. But in the past, what's happened sometimes is that we actually have had a withholding halfway through the year. And so we are just being cautious here. We don't want to sing victory at this point. We want to be cautious and realize that because we're not really sure exactly how the revenue is going to end up being, that we want to not necessarily change at this point our projections, but wait until we are into the year. So. And
that's probably one of the reasons why there was a 3-year plan.
Yes.
Because things can change, as you know.
That is absolutely right. So, if we were to have extra funds that we were not thinking we were going to have, we might be able to absorb the costs that we actually were planning for next year, maybe earlier. So it's not like we actually are going to have extra money to, to do discretionary things. Every cent that really was cut is a cent that has been going to important initiatives in the university to focus on student success, on our ability to help students graduate, and in a timely fashion and with as little debt as possible.
Let's spend a little time talking about just the Board of Regents in general. So many other things were approved, but kind of give our viewers just a peek behind the scenes. What are some of the things that the board does when they meet?
Sure, great question. The board meets anywhere from 4 to 6 times a year, and when we meet, we present to the board information in many cases, reports in many cases, and in some cases items for action. As an example of what we do, for example, this last meeting in May, one of the things that they did, which is of paramount importance, is to approve the list of candidates for graduation. Many people don't know, but actually before we go to commencement, the Board of Regents has to formally approve the list of candidates. That's a process that every institution pretty much follows. So we did that. It happened to be the day before the actual commencement, but
right.
We did that. Another item that we did is we've presented to them a proposal for the honorary doctorate that the university offered to Mr. Douglas E. Green, now Dr. Green,
Okay.
For his in recognizing his contributions and efforts on behalf of the university. We also provided them with information on some program changes, academic programs. So if every time we introduce a new degree or a new area, we need to go to the Board of Regents for approval before we can move that forward. So we, let's see, we also share with them the status of some of the projects that are going on related to facilities at the university, so they keep up with what's happening in the different areas. For example, they approved the modifications to growl, the renovations to growl sometime in the past. Now we're working on them.
Right.
So we're always updating that. And let's see, the tuition and fee schedule, of course, as you mentioned, already was approved. And if we have any course fees or so for some particular courses that need materials for, we present it to them. So those are the and we discuss with them hiring, resignations, retirements or so that take place. So we just keep them informed, because the responsibility has to do with setting policy, approving the budget, hiring or firing the president, those kinds of things. So, and as I said, they meet 4 to 6 times a year, and one of those times there's a retreat where they actually have an extended period of time to talk about items that require some discussion, conversation, to update them on trends in higher education, for them to get a more in-depth view as to some of the areas that we're doing, we're working on, and so on.
And members of the Board of Regents are appointed by the governor.
They're all appointed by the governor. We have 7 members of the board. 1 is a student, also appointed by the governor, and then there are 6 members. And currently we, of course, have those 6 members, and it's a very good working group. I love working with them. They really are very supportive, very engaged with the university, and so no, I'm pleased with the way we work.
Well, thanks for that peek behind the scenes.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Let's take a short break.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a break. When we do come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Vargas. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll be right back.